Hello and welcome to Behind the Lines. I'm Diane Dayton. Right now I'm with the luckiest guy in the world, and he's also breaking all the rules. I'm with Ray Loewe. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me, Diane.
And you are the luckiest guy in the world, and how so?
Well, you have to understand that the luckiest guy in the world is not a contest I won. It's not a job I have. It's the way I feel. And it occurs when everything in your life kind of comes together at the same time. And my life is so wonderful. I've been married for 50 plus years to the same woman. We travel the world together. I'm a competitive swimmer. I still have a job I love and will continue to stay there for as long as I have. And I'm here with you. What could be better than this?
That's great. You're on a mission, though, aren't you?
I am.
What's your background?
Well, if we go really back far, I'm an electrical engineer, but we're not going to go back that far. Actually, I was a financial advisor for 40 plus years, and we did what we thought was a pretty good job of helping people accumulate money. But we never taught them how to spend it, and we never taught them how to break from a life of being fully engaged to what's next. And that's our mission now going forward.
Yeah, and you have steps that we can take to get there, don't you?
Well, you do have steps, okay?
A plan.
And you have to have a plan. Let's think for a minute. Many of us are going to live into our hundreds. And when you're in your mid-60s and you think about this thing called retirement, all of a sudden we might wind up being retired for longer than we ever worked. And if we're going to live this many extra years, how can we use them to, number one, enhance our lives and enjoy it more, but also to provide good things for other people, too?
Okay. You say that 70% of people really don't enjoy the work that they do.
Yeah, that's not my number, by the way. That's the Gallup poll people.
That's a lot. And it could even be higher, couldn't it?
Well, go out and start talking to people and ask them how many of them love their jobs. And, that's an appalling number, but it's closer to being true than it's not true.
Wow.
So, and guess what? You don't have to have that. I mean, you love your job, right?
Yes, I do.
So you figured this out, all right? So what we have to do is help everybody else figure out how to capitalize on the things they love to do and take them forward into their life.
Well, and that's what you're doing, and you've written this book as well. Tell me what's in here.
Well, it's stories. It's stories about people who are making this transition in life. Some of them are making the transition from being a working person to a retired person and figuring out how to do it. Some of them are trying to figure out how to love their jobs more and what they can do to make life more fulfilling for themselves. And it's a great storybook.
Okay. You have this wonderful concept, and it's being launched, and it's a friends connection. What is it?
Okay, now you're going to get me started.
Okay.
So here's where we are. For years and years and years, I had this system to take care of my clients. And by the way, most of my clients were 40-year relationships, so these weren't clients, these were friends. And all of a sudden, one day, I kind of walked away from this business, and the next thing I know, I'm not talking to my friends anymore. And when you think about life, what's one of the best things in life that you take with you? It's your friendships and your relationships. So in brainstorming this with some of my friends, we came up with this concept of the friends connection. And we thought, why don't we just throw a big party in Philadelphia? Let's get together, let's have a lot of fun, let's bring all of our friends together if they want to come, and let's have our friends bring their friends because we want to meet new people too. And we're going to spend some time learning, and we're going to spend some time playing, and I'm excited about it because I'm going to get to see a lot of my friends again.
That's great. So this is going to be coming up, what, in June? Is that correct?
Yep, June 7th, 8th, and 9th in Philly.
Okay.
And there's more information on our website, and our website will keep everybody up to date on that. So that is www.theluckiestguyintheworld.com.
can't forget that one, can
We got the commercial on that, right?
We absolutely got the commercial on that. So who's supposed to come to this?
Well, I'm going to start with some of my close friends, some of them that I see regularly, because one thing I don't want to do is lose contact to people I see. You know, I got a note from my roommate in college the other day. He just celebrated his 50th wedding anniversary.
Okay.
And I just realized I haven't seen him for 20 years, and this was my best friend in college. So how did I let that go, and what can I do to kind of bring it back? My wife and I meet people traveling all over the world, but you know, it's here, you establish this relationship, you think, gee, we want to keep in touch, but how? And this is kind of the guide path to, we're going to create the event, come and stay in touch, or if you can't do it, that's okay, we'll see you next time.
So what you want to do, this is the first year, and you want to make it an annual event somewhere.
Yes.
And that's open to whatever that year holds for you, right?
Yeah, we're sitting here in Lancaster. It's a beautiful spot right now. Maybe we'll come here.
Right.
Or, go ahead.
I think you have some people from Lancaster going to the
We
Philadelphia.
absolutely do. So I have some old friends who are great friends. These are people who have traveled the world with me, and they were excited when we announced that, because it's always great to go to a big city every once in a while to have fun.
Yeah. When I say penguins, there's a story there.
There is, okay. So this is kind of a sad story, and it's a story that you want to make sure doesn't happen to you. So my wife Sandy and I are in Antarctica, okay, one of our ventures. And when you're on an expedition like this, what you do is you get up in the morning, you go out on an adventure. You come back for lunch, you warm up a little bit, you go on another adventure. And one day, one of the couples we had been talking to at dinner the night before just didn't come out with us. And I cornered them at dinner and said, we missed you, where were you? And they said, well, we looked at the hill we had to walk up, and we didn't think we could walk up the hill. I didn't say anything, and they came back and they said, well, we waited and put off this trip until we felt absolutely comfortable that we had enough money. Now we have all the money in the world, and we can't do the things we wanted to do. So I hope people realize you got to do things now. You can't wait until it's too late and you can't walk up the hill.
Well, that's where I think you're really on a mission, to have people think differently and to then be differently. You yourself are very active. Tell us more about what you're doing. Swimming's a big thing for you, isn't it?
So I get to tell my swimming story
Yeah,
now?
tell your swimming story.
Right. So I'm down in Birmingham, Alabama. It's at our National Senior Games Championships. And there are about 20,000 senior citizens that show up for these. And they compete in all sports. So I did my swimming thing, and I'm kind of walking around, and I see this gentleman carrying 6 medals around with him, 5 gold and 1 silver. It's the silver that's important. And I later realized that he won these medals in the 100 to 104 age group. And John, at age 103, won these medals in the shot put, the discus, the hammer throw, and he lost one of his events to a crummy 101-year-old. Imagine that. So the lesson I learned from this is there are tons of people in their 90s and going into their hundreds right now that are active. They're not just thinking active. They're vibrant mentally. They're vibrant physically. And you know what happens if we live to be 100? Do you really want to waste that 35 years of just being retired, or do you want to do something exciting?
Yeah. Well, that's where you also want to help people see the possibilities, right?
Absolutely.
And how do we do that? How do you guide them?
Well, you have to have a plan, and you have to go through steps, and there's a tremendous opportunity here. You know, you go back to the 70% of the people that are unhappy. Well, you know, when you hit this magic age around 65, why not reinvent yourself? Why not sit there and think about what you want to do and how to capitalize on what you want and take it forward? And when you do this, and there's a process to go through it, and we have all this on our website if you really want to go into the details, but when you really go through this, it gives you an opportunity to be you. And when that happens, you know, you're kind of doing that in your life right now. And you're excited about new things that you're going into. And how do you feel when you think about those things?
It's exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So life gets bigger and better as you go. There is no reason just because you hit a certain age that you can't be the best there is. And life's too short not to capitalize it and move forward.
Well, you're taking your message everywhere. And in fact, you also have a streaming TV show.
We do.
Yeah, breaking the rules. Right. And that's what it is all about.
It is. And I have a wonderful opportunity every week to interview a new and interesting person who's doing something exciting with their life. And, you know, you don't have to sit on your rear end and wait. You know, people are out there doing these things, and when that happens, you start to feel luckier and luckier and luckier. And guess what? I have a lot of competition now for being the luckiest guy in the world.
And we all can be lucky, right?
We all can. There's a lot of room at the top for us,
Yeah.
and I'm willing to share. So come with me. Feel like the luckiest guy in the world, too, because you're doing exciting things about your life.
Well, we're going to find out. Your co-host with the show also is a very lucky person, and she's been doing and changing her life around too. So we're going to get her story. We're going to take a brief pause. We'll be right back. You don't want to miss this. Enjoy Mormon Tabernacle Choir, music in the spoken word, Sundays at 8:30 till 10 a.m. and 10:30 p.m. till midnight on LCTV 66, your local connection. Welcome back to Behind the Lines. Now joining the luckiest guy in the world, Ray Loewe, and myself, we have probably the luckiest girl in the world too.
Fair enough.
KC Dempster. Thank you for being here today.
It's been my pleasure.
It's great to have you here. You are also his co-host of this show that you do. Tell us a little bit about this show.
Well, Breaking the Rules is a show about change, because we all experience change in our lives, and a lot of us handle it poorly. And so we believe that if you feel that you're in control of the change, that it will be a little bit more comfortable for you. And sometimes the change is necessary, so why not make it better? And but sometimes you have to break the rules. Often, just because things have always been done a certain way doesn't mean you have to continue doing them that way. And so if you can rearrange the rules to fit your personality or your circumstances or whatever it is, it will make the change easier for you.
Yeah.
And often for the better.
Right. And it's not really about finding yourself, it's about creating yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And that's what she did, didn't she?
Yes, she did. Yes, she did.
I think he's taking a mentor position here.
So tell us a little bit about, because you are living proof that this works.
Yeah, I think so. I met Ray a long time ago, started working for him as a receptionist, and kind of evolved into partnering with him in the financial planning practice. I've ghostwritten books with him, I've co-written books with him, and taught web workshops for him. And when we got to this point where he was starting to think about moving into his next chapter and selling the practice, I realized that what I brought to the table for Ray might not be as valuable to the people who were buying the practice. And I was also reaching an age where I was thinking about changing what I was doing. So I took that opportunity to retire. But I also knew, having worked with Ray in this whole developing luckiest guy in the world thing, that I didn't want to just retire and not have a plan. So I decided that he needed to hire me to help him push this luckiest guy in the world thing forward.
Right.
And so that's what I do. I still ghostwrite for him, you know, update the website, all the little things, and it grew into co-hosting the show with him as well.
Yeah. And it's been a pleasure having her, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. And you got to get her to tell you about how she parlayed this into a trip to Europe, too.
Oh, you did you? What did you do?
Well, actually, while we still had the practice, Ray decided that he wanted to maybe plan a trip and invite clients who would be interested to join us on the trip. They had to pay their own way because the insurance or the investment industry wouldn't have allowed us to do that. But I really wanted to go to Ireland. I don't know if I look like it, but I do have some Irish background. And Ray was a little bit, I don't know if I really want to go to Ireland. You know, he'd been to Europe a little bit. And but since I was going to be the one making the arrangements, I said, we're going to Ireland. And that's what we did. And the next time we went, I said, I think I'd like to go to Italy. And Ray said, well, I've been to Italy a couple of times. And I said, I'd like to go to Italy.
So here's a perfect example of how you make things happen for you to enhance the life that you want to have.
Yeah. You put it out there.
Yep.
You really do. You say work can be the wild card that makes the impossible possible. So don't be afraid to dream about the life you want. We can help you figure out what you need to make it happen and then go get it.
Yes.
And that's what it's about.
Yes. And work has got to be an important part of going forward in your life too. You know, just because you reach a certain age doesn't mean you can't be the best there is. So why do you want to hang up and stop? And you know, this word retirement, it's kind of an evil word. It means to take out of use. And why do you want to do that to yourself? So I found that being able to work enables me to spend more money on things that I want to do as my life expands.
Yeah.
And every time I go someplace, there's 2 new ones that open up.
Yeah. New life 90 days at a time.
That's really, I really love this concept. You know, when we would talk to clients to try to help them think about what they wanted to do when they retired, because they were totally overwhelmed, or they kind of pushed back and said, well, I want to spend time with my grandchildren, or I'm going to play golf. And it was very vague. They really weren't specific. So when that happens, oftentimes they don't do it. So, so Ray came up with this idea of planning your life 90 days at a time. So even though you're planning to go out 30 or 35 years, if you say, well, what do I want to do in the next 90 days? And some of that might be planning further on.
Sure.
But at the end of 90 days, you can sit back and say, okay, this was what I planned. What worked? What didn't work? What do I need to continue on or expand on? Or I think I want to take a right turn here. So it makes it more manageable.
It is. It's tangible, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, and it's all about progress, not about perfection. And that's one of the things people have to realize is that life changes so fast today that you have to have plans that move with you. And look at all the things that life throws at you, and we have to figure out how we're going to get around them. But there's always a positive answer, and work is the wild card that keeps you engaged, and it allows you to do things you otherwise couldn't do.
Yeah, and the friends connection is a place we need to be to start some of this as well, right? And it's coming up June 7th through 9th. It's going to be at the Hyatt Bellevue in Philadelphia this year. So let's get into a little bit more of the details with that so people really understand what they're going to find when they come.
Okay, well, we learned when we thought about this that we have to have a place for friends to gather, and we have to make it easy. So, you know how we talk about friends, let's get together again, and it never happens?
Right.
Okay, well, now it's going to happen. We've got the place and the time. All you got to do is say, I'm going to be there. And we've got some incredible speakers that are going to lead us to enhancing our lives.
Okay.
So we have a travel agent who has figured out how to take your travel life and program it for you, so that you get all those things that are important done early and you don't let barriers get in the way. We have a planning system that we're going to teach people how to plan 90 days at a time. We have a young lady who wrote a book, The Book of Me. How do you understand yourself?
Wow.
And there's more.
Yeah. Wow.
There's more. So, yeah, you have to be there, Diane.
Yes.
Okay, whether you like it or not, you have to be there. And we have other people from Lancaster coming. Okay, so I'll expect to see you.
It sounds good. So go ahead, add to this. I can see you.
In addition to the workshops that we're going to have for the interesting education,
yes,
we're also, this travel agent that Ray works with is going to put together a couple of little side trips that people can do Saturday afternoon to get to know Philadelphia better. Because Philadelphia, in spite of the bad rap it gets sometimes, is a really fun city.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of interesting things to do there. So again, you know, it's something for people to do with their friends. We're really giving them the whole weekend.
Okay.
And by the way, and the last part about this is take some of those friends that you've been trying to think about, we got to get together, we got to get together, bring them along.
Yeah.
We'll force getting together.
There you go. Well, then this also is a part of what the travel connection, right?
Right. In keeping with this, what we did with clients, Ray decided why not do it again. Only it's not clients anymore; it's our friends. So he's going to probably be announcing at the Friends Connection his travel connection trip that he's planning for later on in the year. So it's really, I think, a fantastic way of keeping contact with people without pressure. And I've often said, you know, with friends, sometimes it feels a little artificial to make things an appointment, you know, like we're going to get together every third Wednesday or whatever. But the fact of the matter is, life is so overwhelming to us that oftentimes it has to be an appointment.
Yeah.
And we're always so glad when we've done it.
We are. It feels really good when we do that.
So instead of Philadelphia, we may be adding Barcelona or Madrid or someplace else. We don't know.
Okay.
So come along on that one, too.
Absolutely. When you talk about breaking the rules, what are some of the rules we really need to break?
I know for myself, and I often joke about this, but I came through the Catholic school system where you do what you're told.
Okay.
And so oftentimes when society or a boss or a corporation is telling you that this is how you have to do certain things, you do it. And with this whole breaking the rules thing with respect to what I wanted to do with my life, my experience would have been to retire and then have a life of leisure. But I'm really not quite ready for that, and I know a lot of people aren't ready for that. They might chronologically be at that age, but they're not ready to just do nothing.
Yeah.
So having a part-time job, as I do, I'm able to read all the books that I want to read. I started taking pottery lessons over a year ago. So, you know, I can do the fun things that I would like to do, but I also am still staying engaged and doing things like coming here and interviewing on TV.
And I think one of the wild dreams you had, and you just happened to mention, was, oh, I'd like to host a show sometime.
I did.
And that started.
It did. It's so funny when you throw something out into the universe like that, and I never expected to follow up on that. It was just somebody said to me, if you weren't doing this, what would you do? And I said, I'd like to be a talk show host. And here I am. I'm doing Breaking the Rules with Ray.
So putting it out there is so key, isn't it?
And having the courage to jump at a chance when it presents itself.
Yeah, exactly. Any thought you'd like to add to that yet, Ray?
Well, I think you can see why I feel like the luckiest guy in the world, and why KC feels lucky too. And you know, it's all about this state of being. It's about making it happen. It's about taking that dream that you have and not being afraid to step off the cliff and give it a shot.
Yeah.
And one of the nice things about the middle state and age, you know, when you're coming up to this retirement section of your life, I mean, many of us have our finances somewhat in order, at least largely in order. So now we can take some risk. We can go back and look at the job that we have, and we can say, you know, I don't need to keep that job anymore. I can go on out and create me.
Right. And that's a real good thing.
Luckier and luckier.
Absolutely. So you're the luckiest guy in the world. You're the luckiest girl in the world, and I feel like I'm one of the luckiest girls in the world.
I think you are.
And one of the pieces that you give out on occasion, I think this is great, that we can all realize, here we go, when you open it up, that you truly are the luckiest guy or the luckiest girl in the world. So we encourage you to jump in and join the Friend Connection, which is coming up in June. And the website to go to is?
www.theluckiestguyintheworld.com.
So we'll break rules and shake things up. Sounds good to me. Sounds good to me. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
And thank you for joining today, too. I'm Diane Dayton with Behind the Lines, reminding you to look behind the lines. You might be surprised what you find.